Right now, Senator, we're at this point. It seems to be a breaking point. We've extended the talks. Your reaction?
Well, I have to go back to what Elizabeth just said about the power shifting to Iran. Unfortunately, we had the position of strength in 2013. The president then gave up the cards that we held by loosening sanctions just to get Iran to the negotiating table. So they've been calling the shots for over a year now, and our insistence at staying at the negotiating table past the president's own announced deadline that he said we would not break just goes to show that we're negotiating from a position of weakness.
Absolutely.
If you look at what's happened in Switzerland just in the last 12 or 24 hours, the foreign ministers of France, China, and Russia have all left. Yet Secretary of State Kerry is still there pleading with a deal. The time has come to get back to a position of strength and drive a hard bargain, not accept the bargain Iran wants.
You said Secretary Kerry is pleading for a deal. He's begging. You know, the other countries have left because they said the deadline was midnight. It's come and gone. We're out of here. They left apparently at 6 o'clock this morning. How desperate is this administration for a legacy item as opposed to national security?
Well, the president's own deputy national security advisor was caught on tape comparing a nuclear deal with Iran to Obamacare. It said it's a foreign policy equivalent of Obamacare. So that gives you a sense of just how deeply they want this deal, even if it doesn't stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. And if you look at the concessions they've made just over the last week, they apparently are willing to let Iran continue to enrich uranium in an underground fortified military bunker, and to let Iran keep their stockpiles of uranium, which Iran had said they would ship out of the country.
What could go wrong?
State Department and also a White House press secretary saying, look, as long as progress is being made, we're going to keep on negotiating here, keep the talks going. For whom is progress being made right now in these talks?
Well, that's just not the way you negotiate from strength. I don't know any Arkansan who has an ounce of common sense who would negotiate for a used car or to buy a home like this. You have to be willing to walk away from the table and to reapply leverage to Iran. And the fact that they're not willing to do that we're still sitting in Switzerland negotiating when 3 of our negotiating partners have already left, just demonstrates to Iran that they can continue to demand dangerous concessions from the West.
And, Senator, you could have the administration could be using a hard-nosed Congress to say, if you do not cut this deal, these sanctions are waiting for you. They would have been using this as a lever and leverage. Instead, they pushed back on guys like you and even Democrats.
Brian, that's exactly right. One of the reasons our founding fathers insisted that Congress approve international agreements, even though the president negotiates them, is to protect the American people from unwise, dangerous agreements. But it also gives the president stronger negotiating leverage internationally, because he should be able to tell our adversaries that he alone cannot commit the United States to binding agreements. The Congress has to do so. And Democrats and Republicans alike in the Congress are insisting that we get a deal that blocks Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, not just today and tomorrow, but 10 and 15 years from now as well.
Amen to that. All right. Senator Tom Cotton from the great state of Arkansas, sir, thanks very much for joining us on this Wednesday.
That's right. And your service to this great nation.